good evening from Painesville, outside the nation's capital, Monrovia, and welcome to K News at 6. K News at 6 is a newscast about Liberia and the rest of our international world. Presenting today, July 11, 2025 edition of the newscast, I'm Roland James. Let's now take a brief break to be back with the full package of our developments. The Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection has officially dedicated a modern peace hub and cassava processing plant in Yend to the district of Montserrat County. The initiative is part of the Girls and Young Women Take Action for Peace project, which is implemented by Planned International Liberia with funding from the United Nations Peace Building Fund. Speaking at the ceremony, Gender Minister Weman Harris-Colley described the project as a milestone initiative in advancing peace building and women's economic empowerment at the community level. She said the peace hubs are not just infrastructures, but symbols of resilience, inclusion, and grassroots leadership, empowering women to local dialogue and resolve conflicts and protect community development. So far, over 1,000 girls and young women across target communities are actively involved in peace building under the project. Minister Harris-Colley urged residents to take ownership of the facility, calling it a platform for unity, membership, and transformation. Minister Colley urged residents to take means of empowering themselves and committing to promoting peace, inclusion, economic empowerment for women and youth in Liberia.
I'd like to mention that the agro-processing plant shelter, which symbolizes an integrated approach to peace and development, is very important and should be very much appreciated by even the UN Peace Building Fund, the government of Liberia, and all of our key partners. By aligning economic empowerment with peace building, we are ensuring that the dividends of peace are not abstract. Abstract, I know what abstract is, because I see everybody here reading, and so but practical and transformative. This facility offers opportunity for food processing. We already heard them during the testimonial, hearing people talk about the training and what the facility will offer the women in the community. We heard about income generation. We heard about the food processing, particularly the gari. And we also heard people talking about resilience. So the project will also build the community, especially women's resilience in any form of shock, especially food insecurity. The agro-processing plant shelter is also a strategic investment in agricultural transformation. It addresses food security or food safety, value addition, and it reduces post-harvest losses. Meaning when you face the cassava, you dig your cassava. The cassava will not spoil in your hand because
the voice of Gender Minister Weman Harris-Colley. A new regulation of the Liberia National Police aimed at reducing traffic congestion in the densely populated commercial district of Relat in Painesville has enacted frustration among truck-cycled riders. On Monday, June 7, 2025, the Liberia National Police announced the truck-cycled riders will no longer be allowed to park near the main traffic zone in Relat. Instead, Keke riders have been mandated to use the Bob Taylor Junction as their new parking area. The mandate is intended to ease traffic congestion in the Busin Ralat commercial district. However, several tricycle riders have expressed unhappiness with the decision. In an apparent retaliation to the police mandate, in the morning hours of Thursday, June 10, 2025, tricycle riders held a protest by parking their tricycles in front of Cool FM as a way of calling police attention. The chairman of the Painesville Tricycle Union said the police should not provide a new parking area before the restriction. According to Dumont, the current situation is making it difficult for tricycle riders to operate smoothly. The protest led to a momentary halt of pedestrians' smooth movement.
Because it's where pharmacy.
How do you see your action to be this morning?
You see this action that the police, I'm speaking as head of the cyclists. You see, when the police started this, which was on Monday, get my point clear, please. We took our time, we went there, right? With the chief of traffic and 116 Iran, they tell how to strategize, look for points where we think that we will stop for the bunch that they gave us. Fine. We look at the good work that they did up there. There's no problem. You turn out a rich red line, we don't have problem with it, right? But now, before around Bob Taylor Junction, the opposite lead, because when you come to Koyangori, the opposite lead, you see guys they line. Guys are line on the road. Now, you want to control a situation to put it under control. We went, the order yesterday was still right like again. We went opposite where the cars are parking, where the people said parking gave us before that the mark. The riders, last night we went with sensitized there that what the government is doing up there, let's avoid a camp in our queue. This morning, we went to go for the queue. The commander in red light because he don't have a child, because he don't have a home, because he don't have that.
Those are tricycle riders expressing their disappointment in the restriction of the Liberia National Police about their parking area in the Ralat Belt. Now to this development, the Africa Venture Group, in partnership with the National Investment Commission, has provided a comprehensive update on the 2025 Liberia Investment Conference, which is to take place at the EJS Ministerial Complex on July 15 to 18 this year. The event is organized in partnership with the Office of the Vice President Jeremiah Pancon and the National Investment Commission. NOVAD Ambassador William Anderson noted that the theme of the conference is partnering for conspirant. He stated that the conference is aimed at attracting private sector investors. Ambassador Anderson urged the government entities and all citizens to take initiative to support Liberia.
The 2025 Liberian Investment Conference will take place this July 15th through the 18th at the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf Ministerial Complex in Monrovia. This national event is being organized in partnership with the Office of the Vice President, who leads this year, and the National Investment Commission, NIC. The theme of this year's conference is Partnering for Prosperity. This conference is not just an event. It is a strategic performance and a strategic platform that is designed to attract private sector investments in key sectorial areas. So again, the heads of government, all the vice president office leads what we're doing this year. All agencies of government is involved. You see now the Ministry of Information. This is their contribution. They're talking to you, and we are now, NOVA is talking to you. And I, as the CEO of NOVA, I'm asking you, because the president has given me this task to organize. As you all know, I'm former chief of protocol. What protocol do? We organize the government, we organize the president. I am organizing my country as a private citizen now to say, let's come together, work together to build our country. So, special guest speakers will be at the conference. You know, you all will have a very nice time. It's a 3-day conference that is going to be very impactful, informative. So we're encouraging you like last year, like you did. Come along, we'll have spots for you. As you all know, we'll feed you well, we'll take good care of you. All right, so come and let's build Liberia together.
Still with more local developments, former Liberian President Ely Johnson Sirleaf has urged the Bouakai Kounde Unity Party-led government to extend its national reconciliation initiative beyond the reburial of former leaders and honoring the memories of victims of the Liberia 14-year intermittent bloody civil war. Former President Sirleaf acknowledged the government's recent efforts, but urged that the government needs to do more in achieving its effort to addressing issues of political, religious, and tribal divisions. She cautioned the Bouakai Kounde administration to take practical approaches to rally the support of political, religious, and tribal leaders for a genuine reconciliatory draft that will serve the best interests of all citizens. According to Africa's first female president, the Unity Party government cannot easily succeed in achieving its agenda for inclusive development amidst national division. Madam Sirleaf pointed out that honoring past leaders through symbolic reburial is necessary for national reconciliation, but the bigger picture remains reconciling the day-to-day national issues.
On Saturday, when President Bouakai, on behalf of, apologized to all of those who've been hurt. We did it then, and it was done. It's just done again. Now, you may say you did it then, but did it actually, heal the wounds? Did it actually bring us together in the reconciliation? Are we not more at this time, our systems have fallen apart? But anyway, let's consider that a good step. And let's hope that now there can be follow-ups to make it real, to make reconciliation real. We still have a very divided society in so many ways, whether it's along political lines, whether it's on ethnic lines, whether it's on even, you may say, religious lines. Even that should not even be. But we do have those divisions, and it will take an extra effort on all the leaders to be able to bring it back. You cannot have a nation this divided and hope to achieve the goals that we have set in our agenda and in our vision.
As the much publicized July 17 protest approaches, renowned Liberian exiled political activist Martin Kulai, that's Colley, has cautioned the government and organizers of the planned protest to collaborate to avoid a chaotic situation. Martin Colley, who canvassed for the Unity Party to assume state power, said the government under President Joseph Bouakai must uphold Article 17 of the 1986 Constitution to protect the rights of citizens who may be involved in the protest to a peaceful assembly. The Liberian exiled political activist urged the Bouakai Kounde administration to endure a high level of tolerance for criticism and grievances against its regime. He further called on the government through the Liberia National Police and the lead protest organizers stand to ensure smooth coordination for a peaceful assembly to prevent potential clashes between state securities and would-be protesters. Khalid emphasized that protecting the rights of citizens to protect their protest is part of the democratic principles of the state, but remanded the July 17 protesters to disengage from any form of provoking the free movements of others.
The country is run by a constitution. We have to be clear about that. The constitution guarantees two things. Number one, right. Number two, responsibilities. I would like to state for the record, it is the right of Mr. Molu and his civil society to protest, to assemble. And that right is protected under Article 17 of the Constitution. And the government of the day, the government of President Joseph Yuma Boakai, is under obligation to protect that right. Yesterday we protested. If protest was right yesterday, it is also right today. In fact, it is a core principle of our democracy. So it is the right of Mr. Molu and his group to protest. I will ask the police to collaborate with them, to coordinate with them in order for the protest to be peaceful. On the other side, Mr. Molu and his group also have responsibilities under the Constitution to ensure that the protest is well organized in order to not disrupt the free flow of traffic, because other people have rights to free movement. They have the right to assemble, other people have rights to free movement. So it's two ways, right? The police also have the responsibility to ensure law and order. They need to meet halfway to say, look, okay, we recognize your right to protest. However, we have to organize it in a way that normal activities are not disrupted.
That is the voice of Liberian exiled political activist Martin Colley. The House of Representatives has received a report from its Joint Committee on National Security and Judiciary endorsing the establishment of the Liberia National Police Trust Fund. During Tuesday's plenary session, the House Chief Clerk, Media Sion, read the committee's findings, which support the creation of a dedicated and transparent funding mechanism aimed at strengthening police operations, particularly in law enforcement, crime prevention, and public safety. The proposed law, titled An Act to Establish the Liberia National Police Trust Fund of 2025, highlights long-standing logistical and operational challenges facing the Liberia National Police. The committee believes that sustainable and accountable funding is key to improving professionalism within the force. If enacted, the law will authorize funding from both government and international sources to be managed by a board of trustees under strict financial guidance. Lawmakers said the initiative will reduce reliance on ad hoc budgetary support and ensure consistent funding for critical police services, training, and infrastructure.
National Security and Judiciary Fund, quote-unquote, an act to establish the Liberia National Police Trust Fund of 2025. Background of the report. A bill titled, quote-unquote, an act to establish the Liberia National Police Trust Fund of 2025 was submitted to the plenary of the House of Representatives on June 19, 2025. The submission was done under the sponsorship of Honorable James M. Colette, Representative District 2, Bond County. In his submission letter, an argument on the floor, the sponsor of this bill entreated plenary to pass the bill into law, indicating that its passage stands to benefit the Liberian National Police in particular and the Republic in general. It is understood that when enacted into law, the instrument will function in supporting a range of law enforcement priorities, including improving police infrastructure, upgrading equipment, enhancing officer training and welfare, and boosting community policing initiatives. The proposed fund will also focus on strengthening intelligence gathering and emergency response capacity and function as a paramount autonomous entity with the authority to own assets, enter into contracts, and pursue legal actions as necessary.
Now today's development, Representative Sumo Mobile of Montserrado Electoral District 3 has called for a swift national response to rising insecurity in local communities, citing an overwhelming escalation in armed robbery and public safety threats during night hours. Addressing schools of journalists on Wednesday, July 9, 2025, Representative Mobile disclosed that he had officially communicated with the Inspector General of the Liberian National Police, requesting urgent intervention in areas such as Johnsonville, Prepland, Jacobstown, Red Hill, Tupu Road, and Bannersville communities. The District 3 lawmaker emphasized the need to introduce controlled no-go zone aimed at easing traffic and strengthening nighttime patrols.
So that was sent to the RG of the Liberian National Police for issue relating to high rate of armed robbery in community at night. It is essential to address the issue of protest for the sake of citizen safety and to focus on implementing no-go zone to facilitate another traffic flow. Additionally, attention should be given to the crime rate at night. Citizens have worked hard to start businesses only to be robbed at gunpoint with a rusty single barrel, and have every time people have taken away what belongs to them. I personally experienced this in Johnsonville, where some well-armed bike rider attacked another person on the street. Mr. IG, your effort are appreciated, but more emphasis is needed on crime prevention during May night. Please visit Red Light, Johnsonville, Prepland, Jacobstown, Tupu Road, and Bannersville. Secondly, I feel very frustrated as a young person about how the youth of this country are taken for granted. Over the years, government have not decided enough effort to address the challenges faced by young people. Many talented youth who were hailed in school and participated in soccer league have now become drugs addicts. Some have become vulnerable in society due to unemployment. However, they are being asked to join the district league by the Liberian Football Association without receiving stipend despite being included in the budget. The Liberian Football Association approved a $5.7 million budget for the 2025 operational year during its 29th Ordinary Congress on April 12, 2025. The budget was adopted with a vote of 28 in favor and 12 against.
Meanwhile, Representative Mobile have expressed deep concern over what he described as the consistent neglect of young people by national authorities. He lamented the rapid increase in drug addiction among school-aged youth, many of whom he said were once actively involved in community football leagues, but now victims of joblessness and substance abuse. Representative Mobile criticized the Liberian Football Association for inviting district youth to join National League activities without offering employment of stampede despite a Liberian $5.7 million operational budget.
Over 11,000 foreigners and other occupying positions that belongs to Liberian per the Article 45.1 of the Decent Work Act 2018. and the city should have been filled by Liberian citizens, but not yet. They are filled with foreigners. Are we considering the 500 graduates of Cottington Graduate School? Are we also considering 1,000 graduates from other universities that need yet they have not been given jobs? Have we also considered that young people may not be able to afford the 130 fee for vocational training? If young people cannot secure jobs through government support for themselves and their family, a hungry youth will lack the strength and motivation to join football league. Having just finished the county league, we now need to prioritize and cut necessary expenses. Major public concerns including flooding, drugs issues, and training programs.
If you are just joining us, it is a reminder that you are tuned into a 45 minutes newscast on Cool 91.9 FM and Cool TV. Today, July 11, 2025, I'm Roland James presenting. The House Committee on Ways, Means, Finance and Development Planning has commended several government functionaries for what the committee termed as a strong contribution to national revenue collection. The committee presented the first quarter of the 2025 Revenue Performance Report, along with details of a new loan agreement between the Republic of Liberia and the African Development Bank, as well as the African Development Fund. The agreement aims to provide institutional support to enhance domestic revenue mobilization and advance reform initiative. Maryland County Electoral District 1 Representative P. Mark Jurett also addressed ongoing challenges facing the Liberia Revenue Authority, which, according to him, are undermining Liberia's ability to generate sufficient funds for national development. Representative Jurett noted during the hearing that the committee has discovered several government employees are not paying income taxes, which he described as a violation of the law. He called on members of the House of Representatives to take the matter seriously and implement appropriate measures.
Fellow colleagues, this is a crime in the opinion of the committee. Once you are withholding, your role as a withholding entity is not different from that of LRA, because once you withhold at the end of the month, you're supposed to remit them withholdings right away to the LRA. But most institutions are not doing so. But they pay salaries, they withhold, and they don't remit. We feel that this is a crime and it's a serious matter, and this House needs to take a serious action on it. We also realize that our colleagues or some other employees, judiciary branch, all of us, by law, we pay income tax, all of us, but we realize that there are people working in the judiciary branch that are not paying income taxes as well, and this is also wrong. We realize that all fees that are collected by different agencies, internally generated funds, those funds are not being captured. If you are running a hospital, for example, and you collect registration fees, or if you are in a court and they pay or fines or all of these fees, all of them should be put together, captured, and used by your entity. The percentages that are used should be captured so that this can be counted against you in your budget, but we carry up or increase the budget for the year. These things are not being done. We also realize that in some of the legislations that we have passed before, there are ambiguities. We need clarity. We need to review those laws so that we can set a path of clear understanding of how taxes should be collected in this country. Honorable Speaker, fellow colleagues, we made a couple of recommendations towards this report, and these recommendations, we think, if we work together, we can increase our budget, covering the leakages and working towards correcting those ambiguities that are within the law.
The Liberia Council of Churches has ended a day-long meeting with the Solidarity and Trust for a New Day organizers of the July 17 protest at its headquarters in Congotown. Speaking with K News minutes after the meeting, which was held on Wednesday, July 9, 2025, LCC Secretary General Reverend Christopher Toll disclosed that the meeting is intended to encourage the leadership of Stand for the protest to be peaceful. According to Reverend Toll, the LCC wants to know the demands or points that Stand wants to put forth to the government of Liberia for amicable redress. Reverend Toll explained that the council is expected to meet with the Ministry of Justice and the Liberia National Police to provide security for the protesters in order to avoid violence.
The issue of the detail in regard to the protests, the July 17 protests that starts according to Stand on the 15th and up to the 17th. And the issue was discussed how to do with the peace, the non-violent approach to the protests. We've done not a violent approach to protests, for people to be able to respect the law, the issue of respectability of the law, the issue of making sure that people's rights are also respected, and also a follow-up for us to be able to meet also with the government, the Ministry of Justice, and that of the Liberia National Police in terms of the protection of the protesters, and to make sure that the whole process. So by tomorrow, we want to meet with the government, of the National Police, and that of the Ministry of Justice to be able to make sure that everything is on course. As for the issue of being afraid, we did it June 7th. It's our responsibility as the peace actor in the country to make sure that everything is peaceful. The Council of Churches took action on June 7th when the protests in 2019, when the protests were carried out by the COP. And we did like manner. We met with the COP. We also met with the government. And we made sure that the necessary acts were put into place so that the protest was not violent. Although we don't have the mindset of people, but we make sure that those who are carrying out the protest, their process is non-violent. And also the government also provides security for protesters. We also did it with the attire suffering, with the ANC-led protest. And so this is our responsibility as the Council of Churches to make sure that whatever protest that is carried out, that protest is non-violent. Because people have to demonstrate their rights to protest, but that protest should be non-violent. So Stand will be providing to us, they will be providing also us in writing those the points that they will be lifting up. And so until we can receive that from them, we know that they are just setting up the stage for their demonstration or their protest, which will be July 17th, and we hope to receive. They also inform us that they will also provide us those information officially with regard to their position, and that also will hold on to that. I know the government also has received it, and we will work with the both parties to make sure that the protest is peaceful, is non-violent.
Meanwhile, the organizers of the July 17 protest have strongly warned against any attempt by the Liberia National Police and the National Security Agency to allow armed agents to infiltrate the protesters so as to create the basis for unprovoked violence. Stand National Chairman Moluba Molu disclosed that the protesters will be the protester, who will be in the tens of thousands, will invoke a mechanism that gives the right for citizens arrest of such agents. Molud made it unequivocally clear that nobody of the movement can pursue Stand in its collaborating move with civil society organization. According to Molud, Stand has no plan of staging a violent protest or anything of such would be from Liberian government plan agents.
Well, our message to him is, as they plan to, as they desire, as they plan to send agents, to send spies, to plant weapons among protesters, and to plant evidence to create the suspicion or to create the basis for a crackdown, we have activated our groundswell of citizens network to be on alert for any police agent, for any innocent agent, for Como himself that we attempt to plant evidence among protesters on that day. We have them apprehended, we will institute citizens arrest, not even Como, it will be spare citizens arrest if it crosses this line. We will guard that protest, it will be peaceful, but it remains irreversible. Let me tell you something, we're not talking about protests of 500 persons. We are talking a protest of tens of thousands of Liberian nationals. I have been to the communities. I know the exuberance of the Liberian people. I know what is to come on July 17th. That is why I advise you. Now, it's going to be very peaceful. If there will be violence on that day, it will never be altered by protesters, by peaceful protesters. It may be orchestrated by the banditry of the police under the command of Gregory Como. Now, I can tell you this much. If a police agent or innocent agent is among protesters, it means that he will stand surrounded or he will stand overshadowed by tens of thousands of people. And if there's evidence that they are attempting to plant guns or to plant evidence to sabotage the protest, they will easily be arrested by citizens without any violence. We can assure you that. There will be citizens arrest. And if Gregory Como himself is caught in that, I can assure you, power is inherent in the people. He will be apprehended. He will not be spared. Anyone that crosses the red line, to want to plant evidence among protesters, to want to create the assumption or to create a scenario that there are guns among protesters so as to kill innocent protesters, peaceful protesters, we will ensure our citizen arrest mechanism by our network of citizens will be initiated to keep our people safe and to make sure there will be no brutality on the day of this protest, because it's about this country. Liberia has come a long way for almost 200 years to continue to go down the drain of misgovernance and corruption.
The voice of State Chairman Moluba Molu. Earlier you listened to Reverend Christopher Toole, the Secretary General of the Liberia Council of Churches. The leadership of the disbanded and demobilized personnel of the Armed Forces of Liberia is advising the veteran community against being part of any protest against the government of Liberia. The chairman of the disbanded and demobilized Army personnel, retired Major Larry Jala, said that as veterans, their loyalty is to the constituted authority and not to engage in lawlessness. Addressing a press conference on Wednesday, July 9, 2025, Major Jalad said veterans are not politicians, and as such, they should leave political protests to political parties and politicians. The group appealed to President and Commander-in-Chief Joseph Boakai to appoint the new management team for the National Bureau of Veteran Affairs. According to retired Major Jalad, such a move will allow retired army officers to begin the implementation of segments of the government's arrest agenda for inclusive development.
It has come to the attention of the leadership of the veteran community that there is a planned protest scheduled for the 17th of July 2025 by some members of the opposition community in Monrovia against the constituted government of the Republic of Liberia. While veterans have the constitutional right to express their views on public issues, their participation in political protests or rallies is subject to specific restrictions as per the UCMJ, not to undermine the state as well as the government and constitution of Liberia. As former officers and enlisted personnel of the Armed Forces of Liberia, we too, like other Liberians and foreigners alike, pay the utmost price for the durable peace we are enjoying today in our country. Civilians as well as soldiers, police, immigration, SSS, now EPS, and other security personnel died to bring peace to Liberia. Meanwhile, the leadership of the veteran community extends thanks and appreciation to the Board of Directors of the National Bureau of Veteran Affairs, Republic of Liberia, for spearheading the vetting of veteran candidates for onward transmission to the President of Liberia, His Excellency Joseph Yuma Boakai Sr., Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Liberia, for appointment to various positions within the National Bureau of Veteran Affairs. Finally, as we strive to place the Bureau on par with other government agencies based on integrity and performance, it is the hope of the leadership that veterans accused of alleged corruption in the past will not be considered. The maxim of the President for no business as usual must be of paramount importance in this case. We commend President Joseph Yuma Boakai Sr. for mustering the courage to apologize to all Liberians and foreigners alike who endured the civil wars. We veteran community also thank the President for the burial and reburial of our past leaders, including.
Today's development, the senior advisor of that's to the Director General at the Center for National Documents and Records Agency has called for sweeping reforms in the country education system. Ebenezer Bobot emphasized the urgent need to overhaul the national curriculum to reflect international standards. Speaking with K News on Wednesday, July 9, 2025, Bobot argued that the current education structure is overloaded with too many subjects, which he believes hindered students from focusing on their future careers at an early age. He maintained that the number of subjects that students are made to study is too burdensome, stressing the need for complete reduction that allows students to concentrate on career paths beginning from the 7th through to the high school graduation.
You got a lecture in the 7th grade doing 14 subjects, 17 subjects. I think it's illogical. There is a need for total reform. Let our students be specialized, at least from 7th grade. We can start teaching accounting. If that student decides to be an accountant, he starts to learn the fundamentals, 7th grade, 8th grade. So by the time he gets to 12th grade, 10th, 11th, 12th grade, he have almost to maybe first or second semester of the course at the university level. And then getting there, it increases his passion. Started this discussion with the Standing Committee on Education Chairperson at the Liberian Senate, Honorable Senator Nathaniel Fallow Magee. And indeed, there's a need for reform. And by virtue of a position, I think he has a cardinal role, a committee has a cardinal role to play in collaborating with the Ministry of Education to have a review of some of these things. Because we cannot continue in this manner and form. And another thing I spoke about, the number of time the students stay in school is too long. If they can set up a criteria or a benchmark that every semester student will be promoted based on a specific average, a grade point.
Before we take leave of you on today, July 11, 2025 edition of the newscast, let now bring you our international development. Amid Kenya's worst wave of anti-government protests in years and mounting economic hardship, President William Ruto is pressing ahead with plans to build a lavish mega church at his official residence. The project has enacted debate over the intersection of faith-powered and public accountability. The construction of the church in the central Nairobi is estimated to cost 1.2 billion and fit upward of 8,000 people, according to local media reports. The grandstand project was met with criticism from many Kenyans who have struggled under the ongoing cost of high living crisis. economic hardship in Kenya have taken a toll on the popularity of the sitting president. Tension escalated on Monday when 31 people were killed and more than 500 people were arrested in nationwide anti-government protests. On this note, this is how I would like to say thanks for listening and tuning in to K News at 6. It has been a joint effort from the News and Current Affairs Department of Cool 91.9 FM and also the production team. My name is Roland James. Good evening from Painesville.